Well, hello everyone. My name is Christy Choice, and I am so thankful that each of you have taken a little time out of your day to join Miles and I. We're going to start with some quick introductions, give you a little bit of housekeeping rules, and then we're going to dive right in because we will not be here for long today. Okay, my name is Christy, and I'm on the professional services team here at 10th Street, and I absolutely love learning, teaching, training. It is my jam. I'm also a safety management expert here at 10th Street, and so equipment is what we're talking about today, the smarter way to track assets. Okay, I am joined by none other than Miles Sexton. Miles, go ahead and just introduce yourself before we go ahead and give them the next steps in today's agenda.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you very much, Christy. My name is Miles Sexton. I am an account manager here at 10th Street, and I work hand in hand with Christy. I am also a safety management expert, so I am also joining you guys here today just to talk about equipment and give you a quick rundown on what all that entails.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Now, something you need to know here in the GoToWebinar screen, we want you to interact with us. Go to the questions section in the GoToWebinar control panel to interact with us, ask questions as we go through today's webinar. Also, you will get a copy of this recording in about 24 hours, so you can share it with the folks in your office or you can replay it back for yourself. And then last but not least, here in the GoToWebinar screen that Miles is showing us, you have the ability to take a screenshot or even zoom in if you need to see something a little closer. And so we're going to go ahead and just jump right in. Again, today's topic is talking about ways to track assets, and we're going to just keep this party going. Let's go to the next slide, Miles. Okay, so equipment management, what it is. In 10th Street, we have a tiered safety management solution. We have a bronze tier. We believe that safety management is for everyone. And so safety management, bronze is free to all, and it comes with the ability for you to do quite a few things. We're going to talk about what those are as we move forward. But there's also a silver and a gold tier of safety management, and those are the sweet spot. And so a lot of the features that we're going to be showing you today are in the silver tier, and the gold tier really is just the icing on the cake. So just in case you didn't understand what equipment management is in 10th Street, I just wanted to share a little bit of that. But what it is it's really a smarter way for asset-based carriers to manage your equipment in 10th Street. Traditionally, 10th Street is all about drivers. It's about the driver experience, but we have come to understand that a lot of companies really need to track their own equipment, their own assets. And so the equipment part of the system is what we're going to be showing you today. We're going to dive on in. It's seamlessly integrated within the dashboard. You can assign drivers to equipment, and it's capable of tracking equipment-specific expiration dates. Again, another wonderful sweet spot that I like to call it, right? And then last but not least, it allows you to track unique data related to your pieces of equipment so that you can make sure your operations are streamlined, they're efficient, and they are as smooth as possible. All right, Miles, let's talk about next how it works.
Yes, so how equipment works, well, ultimately you'll get your equipment into your dashboard, and there's a few different ways that it can flow into your dashboard. So first and foremost, it can obviously manually be imported into the system, and we'll go through that today. Another way of manually importing it is we can get you an Excel sheet that you can essentially enter in the specific pieces of information you need on those pieces of equipment. And then through that, we can get that bulk upload of all your pieces of equipment into your dashboard. Now, the two other ways outside of that are CSA infractions and through a telematics integration. So both of those are integrations, whether it's CSA or your telematics provider. And as events start flowing in, if it is synced up with a piece of equipment, it will reflect and it will populate in that piece of equipment in your dashboard as well. Now, once it is in your dashboard, what can you achieve? You can monitor the different statuses of your pieces of equipment. So some examples of that I added in there are in service, out of service, or in maintenance. Now, with statuses, and as with a lot that we're going to be seeing here today, that is customizable as well. So if you use any different terminology to track the status of your pieces of equipment, then we can make accommodations for you on that. You can sync up your equipment with your drivers with different events being accidents, incidents, or violations that the driver encumbers. You can link it up with CSA infractions, and you can even sync them up with your telematics events that are coming into the dashboard as well. You can track EQF files, and you can have notifications be sent out to you. It's very similar to the DQF, so the driver qualifying file on the driver side of the dashboard. So that'll help you with those expiration dates that Christy was just hearkening to. And then lastly, you can utilize tags to maximize your reporting capabilities. Similar to the driver's side, there is also going to be the option to save tags on your pieces of equipment, and this can further expand your reporting options on your pieces of equipment. So at this point, we are going to take you into a live demo here. So let me get out of,
Wonderful.
and let
Yeah,
me,
so while Miles is transitioning his screen, I just want you to keep an open mind and be sure to go to the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel so that you can interact with us. We want this part of the live demo to answer any questions that you all have. Now, if you're unsure of kind of where to start, Miles is going to give us just a really quick high-level overview of what the system looks like. And here we go.
alrighty, beautiful. So first and foremost, I just brought up our test driver here. I'm going to put him into the hired status here just so we can start working him up from the safety management side. That's going to be a characteristic of drivers and the safety management feature. They will need to be in the hired status. But why I did that is I'm going to go into the safety management view on this driver's profile to show you the very first piece of equipment in here. So you'll see on the driver's safety management tab here, which is just an overview of different safety features that you have. One of the first few options in here is the option to link a piece of equipment. Now, this is going to be the only piece of equipment that is going to be included with bronze on the only thing you can add in and track on a driver here. So to add in a piece of equipment to this driver, it's as easy as typing in the VIN number. So let's just say 123. Looks like there's a couple pieces of equipment that match up with this. We're going to give him the 1234 unit ID here. And if it's something that doesn't already exist in there, let's say ABC 543, you can go in and create new pieces of equipment to add in there. So you can enter in the unit ID, license plate, license state, all the way down through to the type of equipment, whether it's a tractor or a trailer. These are customizable as well if there's any additional pieces of equipment you want to track. The statuses, and I already harkened on this earlier, that these are customizable as well. And the location. You can add in as many locations as you'd like. Obviously, if you already track drivers based off of work list in here, maybe those work lists are set up by location. So those could be some helpful locations to use for your pieces of equipment as well. So that's at least the piece of equipment on an individual driver side. Before we dive into how to add it to any sort of event or any telematics event, CSA infraction, I'm going to show you the equipment dashboard in here just so you can see the fleet-wide view as opposed to what we're seeing here. So over in the Express dashboard is where we're at now. We're going to click the little drop-down arrow and go into the equipment dashboard. Now in this dashboard, you'll see a couple pieces of information. And if you don't have any pieces of equipment, you may not see as many colors as we're seeing in here, but this is giving us a quick overview of the pieces of equipment that we have, what's the age of them, how many of them are in service and maintenance or any other status they may be in. You can see the locations would be listed out here, how many claims you've had on those pieces of equipment in the last 30 days. You'll have a quick rundown of how many files are missing or expired for what you have of current active pieces of equipment. And lastly, you can see how many pieces of new equipment have come into the dashboard in the last 30 days. Now with this, you'll notice that a lot of these tabs at the top are very similar to the Express side. You can always search for pieces of equipment. You have different tools you can go into, and there's not too many, just the equipment DQF file, the EQF file, and the import tool. And similarly to that, with the reporting option, it would just allow you to add in additional reports in here. If you need to add those in, just reach out to your account management team. But where the money is made in here is in the list feature. In list, similar to work list, it's going to list out all of your pieces of equipment. You can filter them by type of equipment, status, and location. And you can even add in new pieces of equipment in here. When I'll click this, it looks exactly like it did on the driver's profile, just to add in a new piece of equipment. And for these pieces of equipment, you can even click into them and edit them. It'll bring up this equipment detail where you can go through and edit and add in any additional pieces of information you might want to track on that. You can add in a photo of this truck. And I have my control panel in the way. Let me move that out here. But you can see that you can link it up to drivers. Now this will reflect in what we just did on the driver's profile. I added the truck of 1234 of the unit ID into Andy Anderson. As you can see, this is our test user for the month for a lot of our webinars of June Carter. So it looks like this cash truck was added to June Carter once on the basic page of safety management, and it was even linked up to her through an accident. We'll show you that here in a second here as well, if time permits. As we go down below, you will see it's once again incredibly similar to a driver's profile. We want to keep this as simple as possible. So you have the option to add in notes on this piece of equipment. You can track documents in here, and this ties into the EQF, so equipment qualifying file. If you want to add in a document, it's as simple as clicking add document. You can pick the type to add in, and we can add in some standard options for you in here as well, whether it be a lease agreement, inspection documentation, anything under the sun that you want to track on your document, we can add around your piece of equipment. We can add those documents in here, as well as an expiration date. We have the tagging option in here as well. Very similar to documents. Just tell us what types of information you want to track with tags, and we can add those in for you. And to give you an example of this, I actually have had some examples and some experiences with clients utilizing the tagging in equipment. And one common theme I have seen is maybe they want to track how many accidents a piece of equipment has been involved in since they've been at 10th Street. Then they can go in and add that tag, update how many events that truck has been in on that tag. So that way, if they're doing that and it's a comprehensive practice that's being done throughout all their pieces of equipment, then at the end of a month, they'll run that report to see how many accidents each truck has been in that period of time. And they can use that to help make sure that A, their trucks are safe, but B, make sure that anything that does need attention will get that attention right away.
Absolutely. So, Miles, as you're going through this, there was a couple of questions that I think it might be appropriate for us to answer now. And so, our friend Karen has asked a couple of questions, and I know that we're going to probably have to have more discussions around this. But what if they slip seat? Can you add more than one driver per piece of equipment?
Yes, that is a fantastic question. So yes, you can definitely share one piece of equipment with multiple drivers. So for example, this is the cash truck that we were just in there. Let me go back to Andy Anderson here, bring up his profile, and we're going to share that cash truck with Andy Anderson as well. So we'll go into the safety management view. I'll remove this initial truck and just put in the cash truck in here. So now that's linked up with Andy Anderson. And if my system is working with me today and we're all up to date, then when I go into this cash truck, it has Andy Anderson assigned to it as well. So that way you can have one truck assigned to multiple drivers in there. That way it does make it easier with slip seating. If there's any team driving out there, you can always just make sure that each driver is associated with it. And one benefit of this, I know oftentimes a second question that comes up with that is if that truck was involved in an accident, how do we know which driver was driving the truck at that time? Whenever you're adding in an accident into the dashboard, it does give you the option to pick who was driving the truck at that point in time.
Absolutely.
So that
Hmm.
way it's not going to, have any unintended events added to a driver's profile who's not at fault.
Yes, yes, Miles, that's excellent, excellent. And that's exactly, we're definitely on the same page with that. And so thank you so much for showing it to us. Now, there's a couple other questions that I think would be helpful right now. Now, you already talked about this a little bit. So actually, I'm going to save that one uh, to the last. Okay, so hold on. When adding equipment to a profile, can we add more types other than what is already offered? And the answer for that is yes. So, Miles, you can go back to the Express side. We can use Andy Anderson again. Early on, when we first created the equipment module, we had it just like a truck and then a tractor. But we know that there's lots of different types of equipment. There's lots of different ways that you all would want to use this. So we just have it called equipment. And so as far as the types of equipment, it doesn't have to just be a tractor or a trailer. It can be other types as well. And so Miles is going to show us that really quickly.
Yes, so this is where you could essentially choose what it would be. But if you do need to add in additional pieces of equipment in there, you would just reach out to your account management team and we can add those in for you. Some examples I have seen of that are more yard related equipment, such as a forklift or any other box trucks that might be just specific to the yard, tow truck even. So that's okay. Just let us know on that and we can add those in there.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, you are so, so very welcome. We're happy to answer those questions. Now, I feel like the chat is on fire right now, so now is your time. If you have any other questions, we're happy to get those answered, and we're going to go to the next couple of questions here. Okay, so there's another really great question, and this is around equipment, but as it relates to claims. And so, what kind of claims on equipment? Do we have to link it on any DOT claims? And so, what we're really talking about here is your ability to use 10 Streets safety management platform, the events management, and it's right here in the safety management area that we've been working from this whole time. And so Miles is going to show us really quickly, how you can start entering an accident, incident, or violation, and where you can go on the express side to make sure that equipment is factored in, because of course it makes sense for it to all be connected.
Yes. Yep. Fantastic question there. So in the safety management tab, there are these three little lines. If you've been a part of any of our safety webinars or anything that's remotely safety related, you'll know that we affectionately call that our hamburger here. So if you click on the hamburger, there is a tab in here for events. And we're going to create a very quick event here. I'm just going to click on accidents. We can add that in. Let's skip that first initial page here and just add in a new accident. So to add in an accident, there's only two required fields. So I'll just click into these so we can get them added in quickly here. The date and time and the type of accident, non-injury. So first and foremost, before I even save this, you can sync up what piece of equipment was involved in this accident. So we'll add the cash truck example again here, and you can keep adding in pieces. So if there's a trailer that was your company's as well, you can add that in. But then after you add everything you need, you can add the accident in here and finalize it. Now with this, you'll notice that there's some additional options with this event detail that we've created in here. So we can link up telematics events to this that has happened here. Same goes with CSA events. If there's anything that is aligning with this driver, then it'll first prioritize the driver in here, whether it be telematics or CSA, that this driver has encumbered an event. From there, this is where you can start linking up those events. And then vice versa, even if you are looking at, and we'll show you this here in a second, from the safety management tool, there is an option for telematics and events where you can from there link them up to a driver or a piece of equipment. So this is at least what it looks like on the event detail tab. And even if you want to
Yep.
link up a document, if you want to go add a document to an event, you can just hit the link button on whatever document you want to send over, and that will link it up as well. But just to show you the fleet-wide view on that, I'm going to go into the safety management tool. And starting out with telematics, as telematics flow in, there will be an event detail on here, and it'll have that same link button in there so you can link it up to a driver, just as we saw on the piece of equipment. And then same goes with CSA events that would come in. This particular demo dashboard doesn't have the CSA integration set up, but there are listed events at the bottom that will essentially show you what drivers have encumbered what, and you can link those to drivers and ultimately the piece of equipment that's linked up to them as well.
All right, excellent. Okay, now there was kind of a connected question that someone else asked us, Miles, and it was about the events, but it says, do events expire after a period of time? And so the answer is no. They're in the dashboard for as long as you need it to be there. But for this, what our best practice suggestion would be is a proper use of event statuses, right? Because something could have happened and I document that event in the dashboard, but I get to tell the system whether it is closed, it's open, if I'm awaiting documentation. And so that's kind of what we were talking about here. So Miles is showing us here the open and closed are system statuses, so they will always be there. But if you want to add to this list, just like we have here, it's in litigation, it's still in progress, I'm pending a police report, pending driver's statement, whatever your process is, we can add those as statuses so that you can go back to historic events and pull reports and things and still have access to that data. And you can also in tandem be working those events that are currently in progress, and you can tell where they are in your process so that your team keeps moving forward with collecting the information that they need. Okay. Wonderful. Miles, you're doing such a fantastic job at this, and I love all the questions that are coming in. I think this next question is going to be really a way for us to highlight the EQF features, or the equipment file features that we have for equipment. So Jeff asked a question, can this system be used for maintenance files? Now, we know that the documentation that you need to keep on your equipment is sometimes has their own expiration dates. And so Miles is going to just really show us what that equipment tracking looks like and all of those expirations and the notifications. And then we got a couple other questions that came in. So Miles, go ahead and take it away. Let's talk about EQF now.
Beautiful. So yes, while you were talking there, Christy, I just brought up that cash truck equipment, piece of equipment, and the equipment dashboard. But in the document section, as you start adding them in, and like I said there before, we don't have any standard options that are defaulted in this particular dashboard, but very similar to the statuses, we will have some standard options such as lease purchase agreement, the inspection documentation that you might need. Anything else under the sun, there will be some standard options and you can customize those. So if there is any maintenance documents, like your example in there, you can add them in and add in expiration dates. So once you start tracking those on pieces of equipment, then it was over in our tools. There is the equipment file missing an expired report. And the way this will display is incredibly similar to the driver DQF tool. So I'll just show you in comparison with that, especially if that's new to anyone on the call here. But with the DQF tool, it'll essentially give you different images for whether or not something is missing, expired, present, or soon to expire. So all those documents will be tracked very similar to how they are in a driver's profile, just for each individual piece of equipment. But you'll see whether or not something is missing, whether it's compliant, or if there is a document in there, but it's just expired. So that report will give you that comprehensive rundown. But if you do want to get emails on that, then in the configuration tab in your safety management tool, there is a tab in here for notifications. And in there, if you have the EQF dashboard, there will be EQF notifications you can add in here as well. Once again, with this dashboard, for the demo purposes, the equipment dashboard isn't fully set up, so there's not the EQF tab in here. But yes, it will live in here. Looks just like the DQF notifications, where you can add in a notification, choose what documents you want to be notified on for your pieces of equipment, and who you want to receive those emails. So that way, similar to the DQF side, you can have at least a designated person or team that's monitoring those email notifications to see if anything does need any work or needs any updated documentation.
Excellent, excellent. And so what we're talking about here is a different way, instead of you having to go to multiple systems and do a whole lot outside of the 10th Street dashboard. For some, it has been so much more convenient for them to pull their equipment management into the same dashboard that they're using already to manage their drivers. And so I know we don't have a whole lot of time. There's one more question here. And it says, if a driver is termed, does the system automatically release the driver from that linked unit? And so, Miles, I don't believe it currently does that. Can you
Yeah,
confirm? Do you know?
yes, that's a great question. It will not automatically take them off of that truck. Reason being, if there's anything that you still need to update, let's say that driver was just terminated, but there's still an open event on them, we still keep that assigned to that driver just by default. So you would have to go in and unassign them from that piece of equipment if you so choose. But just in the event that there's anything from a compliance perspective that you're still working on, we don't want to just strip them from that right away when they're in the terminated status. So we will keep them assigned to that truck until you elect to unassign them. That's a great question.
Yeah, it really is a really, really great question. Now, there's been so much really, really good interaction back and forth between, but we want to make sure that you've had an opportunity to see the equipment file management system and that you have an opportunity to know what the next steps are. Okay. And so I think we can, is there anything else you want to show, Miles, or are you ready to go back?
I good for the for at least what we're showing right there.
Okay.
Outside of that, there is just some basic information, and then this next get started tab, but it's not letting me share my screen.
Okay. Okay, okay. Well, no, that's fine. That's a little webinar weirdness, but we'll rock with it. And so, in addition to sharing with each of you what the equipment system is and how it works, and how it's beneficial and helpful, we want you to know how to get started. Okay. Now, let's get started here. We want you to know your safety management tier. Again, if you have the bronze tier of safety management, meaning you've never spoken to anyone on the 10th Street team about upgrading to silver or gold, then that means you have bronze, okay? There's a couple places you can go in the dashboard to see that information, but knowing which safety management tier you have allows you to understand which features you have access to, okay? By and large, the majority of our clients are on the safety management silver tier, but that doesn't mean that everyone is. So again, reach out to your 10th Street account management team or your advisor to learn more about which tier of safety management you have. We're more than happy to help you, okay? Now, the next step in getting started is getting your team on board. In my role as a professional services consultant, I work with lots of our clients, and a lot of times when you're transitioning processes or systems or even people in different roles, you just need to kind of talk through what your goals are so that you can communicate that to our team. That helps us to better help you. In using equipment, a lot of times people have spreadsheets or even other systems that are proprietary to their organizations that they've created, but it doesn't have all of the features, all the bells and whistles, all the extra functionality that they would need. Make sure you talk to your team, go through your goals, and then schedule a time for a demo with your 10th Street advisor. We want to answer your questions that you have specifically, and we want your team to be brought to that decision-making table so that we can transition you in a way that really helps support what your organization is looking to do. Now, last but not least, contribute to your vision coming to life during the implementation process. This is not a one-size-fits-all program. Just like Miles alluded to earlier, there are so many fields that can be customized in the 10th Street system. And so we want, when you get to that implementation process where you're implementing the safety management platform, there will be a designated time for you to say, okay, it's time for us to focus on equipment. These are the things that are important to us. Here's a list of statuses that I would want. Here's our list of locations. Here are the tags. Here's what is important to us to track. And again, once we have that information, we are able to build it out for you in a way that makes sense. And so I know there were quite a few questions and some folks that we need to follow up with, and we're happy to do it. But my main takeaways are, number one, go into your 10th Street system, and if you click from the top left, you may see that you already have access to the equipment tab. If you don't, you can ask around to your maybe a primary user or an administrative user on your end just to know if you have access to it. Okay, that's one of the telltale signs that you do have safety management silver, because you can access that equipment tab. If not, hey, that doesn't always mean you don't have it. You may not just have the accesses. Now, my last takeaway before I hand it over to Miles to wrap us up is going to be the support center. Now, if you click this little question mark in the top right corner, it's going to take you to the 10th Street Support Center. We have written tons of articles to help you move forward in your processes. And so all you have to do is just use the little search feature, type in equipment, and it is going to show you lots of different articles about how you can move forward with equipment, how you can learn more. But do not hesitate to reach out to us to get a live demo scheduled, just like we're going to do with Karen soon. Okay, Miles, back over to you for you to wrap it up for us today.
All righty, beautiful. Well, thank you very much. Well, yes, that is the gamut of our equipment dashboard. And like Christy said, there is a lot more that we can do in there, whether it is customizations or just basic questions that you want to have answered, some additional training. So definitely reach out to your 10th Street advisors and account managers, and we can definitely help you out with any additional questions that we may not have had time to get to today. But I want to thank everyone for joining in. Just as a reminder, these are saved. They will be sent out to your email tomorrow morning. And if anyone was unable to sign up for this, let's say they log in tomorrow and they say, oh goodness, I completely forgot to sign up in general. That's a-okay. They can still sign up for it tomorrow. It'll be sent to their email address. Typically at the end of the month, that's when they start advertising for next month's webinars. So with that being said, they may not show up come Thursday or come Friday, come Monday next week, but definitely get on that. If someone wasn't able to see it, you will still have the recording sent to you for those of us that are on the call, and that is a shareable link as well. So if all else fails, you'll still have it at your disposal and in your holster. But thank you
All
guys
right.
again very much for joining in. Thank you, Christy, very much for leading the way here today. And outside of that, that's all I got for you guys.
All right. Well, thanks, Miles, and thanks, everyone. We'll catch you again sometime soon on another 10th Street webinar. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys.